What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a super exciting and interesting Liverpool transfer news video because Timo Werner has given various interviews praising Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool, and he actually openly talked about that Liverpool's style of play would suit him and he has to work hard if he wants to be good enough to play for Liverpool regularly. So this is actually very interesting because of course this is now an open secret that Liverpool want to sign Timo Werner. His release clause is around £54 million. After he signed a new contract at Leipzig, they put a release clause in it, which is of course affordable for many top clubs in the world, so Timo Werner can choose freely who he wants to sign for. There is no smoke without fire. Timo Werner is talking so much about Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, praising them at every opportunity. Every question that he gets asked about Liverpool, he answers extensively, and he even answers it with a smile, with a grin on his face. He's not very good at hiding that he wants to play for Liverpool. So let me know, what do you think about this in the comments below. Would Timo Werner be a good signing right now for Liverpool? He's only 23 years old and he is in a red hot form. He scored the winner against Tottenham and he could have scored even more goals. I was very interested to see how he would play against Tottenham, a very good club in the Premier League, one of the top 6 clubs in the Premier League, and Timo Werner was a brilliant player in that game. And also he scored in Leipzig's 5-0 demolition of Schalke away from home, and he now has 27 goals this season, and we are only at the end of February. Absolutely mind-blowing how Timo Werner improved this season. So let's actually listen to his interviews in this video, and if you guys enjoy these types of videos, please leave a like. It really helps me out, it shows me you guys enjoy these, and subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you never miss the latest Liverpool transfer news. This is what he said: last year, until I extended my contract, it was always Bayern Munich that I was linked with. These are the words of Timo Werner, I quote him here. Now Liverpool has come up through the media and through our game in England. You have there the best coach in the world, Jurgen Klopp. There are many things that would suggest that my style of play might be a good fit for Liverpool, but I'm not too worried about it because we have so much to do with Leipzig this season. You can see we won against Tottenham and we also have a second leg. It's hard to think about where to play next year if you want to step on the gas here and now. So of course Timo Werner is thinking about where to play next year because it's pretty evident he will leave Leipzig at the end of the season, and he's weighing up his options. And of course he wants to focus on the Champions League, and Leipzig have a realistic chance of winning the Bundesliga. I think they are just 1 point behind Bayern Munich. And actually you have to say that Leipzig are in better form than Bayern right now if you just see the performances that they put in week out. I mean, Bayern Munich struggles to beat Paderborn. They required an 88th minute Lewandowski goal to win against the relegation candidates Paderborn, one of the newly promoted sides. And Timo Werner also said this about himself being linked with Liverpool: it's a pleasure, but I know Liverpool play with a lot of good players and I have to improve myself and to learn much more things to get on this level to play there. And that's very humble and very realistic by Timo Werner to think like this, that he still thinks that he needs to take steps in his career, he needs to get more football education, get better each day in training, in games, to play at Liverpool. He recognizes that Liverpool are one of the absolute top best clubs in the world right now. We are the Champions League winners, world champions. We are going to win the Premier League title hopefully in a few weeks or months, and Timo Werner requires some improvement, but not like a huge amount of improvement to play for Liverpool. And that's very interesting and very exciting in my opinion. What is also interesting is that this season Timo Werner started playing as a false 9, very similar to how Roberto Firmino plays, or where Roberto Firmino plays in Liverpool, in the Liverpool side, because Nagelsmann said this openly in a public interview that he wanted Timo Werner to learn different roles and different positions in the attacking field, in the attacking 4 or 5 players that Leipzig usually play with. So sometimes Timo Werner played on the left, sometimes he played on the right, sometimes, most of the time, as an out-and-out striker. But sometimes Nagelsmann placed him as a false 9, so he can drop that back a little bit into midfield, get the ball and run forward. Timo Werner has a lot of great attributes. He's fast, he's strong, he has a deadly right foot and he can score a lot of goals, but he also has a few assists this season. Leipzig boss Nagelsmann has warned Timo Werner, if he moves to Liverpool he will no longer be the main man. It's true, because at the moment Firmino is the main striker for Liverpool and Timo Werner would probably have to be patient, sometimes sitting on the bench, sometimes playing. And this is what Nagelsmann said, his manager right now. It would be more difficult for Timo Werner to play at Liverpool than at Leipzig right now. He will not get the status he has here in the first few years, and I tell him that too. The boys are seeing how we are developing and how much potential we have. We don't leave anyone who helps us defenseless. And also what is very interesting is that Sport Bild, one of the very established newspapers in Germany, they have a reporter, Christian Falk, who reported earlier in February that many Premier League sides are keen on Timo Werner. This is what he said. Jurgen Klopp is interested in Timo Werner, signed for Liverpool. The striker can leave Leipzig because of a clause for about 60 million euros in the summer. And not only does Timo Werner have 27 goals in 33 appearances, which is almost 1 goal per game ratio. Those are the kind of numbers that not many players can do in world football. Lewandowski, Ronaldo, Messi. I'm not saying that Timo Werner is as good as them, but this season, in terms of numbers, he's up there. And not only does he have 27 goals in 33 games, but he also has 10 assists this season, which is also very impressive and shows that he can't just score goals, he can get assists for his teammates, so he's an unselfish player as well, which is of course vital if you want to play for Liverpool. And if it's true that his release clause is 60 million euros, and I have seen this reported many times in many different newspapers, so why wouldn't it be true? It would be an absolute bargain in today's transfer market. To get a striker who gets 25, 30, maybe even 35 goals. I mean, Werner already has 27, so it's safe to say if he doesn't get injured, he will get 35 plus goals this season, maybe even 40 goals this season if Leipzig go far in the German Cup and in the Champions League. Why not? To get him for like 50-55 million pounds would be an absolute bargain in the transfer market right now. I mean, ask yourself honestly, if any top club wanted to sign a striker who scores 30 plus goals a season, and regularly Werner has scored 20 plus goals, even as a 20, 21, 22-year-old, but it's very evident that he now went up to another level at 23 years old, and it's frightening how good Timo Werner could become. I mean, as a 23-year-old, he's putting up numbers like this, scoring 30 plus goals. Imagine how good he will be when he turns 24, 25, 26 years old and he reaches the peak, the pinnacle of his career. And I don't think Timo Werner should be too frightened whether he would get enough games at Liverpool, because Liverpool have an incredible amount of games. We had to pull out of the League Cup because of having so many games, and I think that Werner could play in games with Salah, Firmino and Mane, which require a very attacking lineup. So for example, when we play West Ham tonight in the Premier League, we could play, like next season in the same fixture, we could play with Werner up front, Firmino behind him as a false 9 or as an attacking midfielder, whatever you want to call that position, Salah on the right, Mane on the left. And that front four would score so many goals against the smaller sides. There are not really many small teams in the Premier League. There are quite a lot of big teams and quite a lot of mid-sized clubs, and yes, some smaller sides, but not many. But against the bottom 10, in the Premier League. We could easily play that front four and still get away with it defensively, in my opinion, because Fabinho and Henderson are good enough to shut down any attack, in my opinion. With the back four that we have and Alisson in goal, I think that Liverpool could easily get away with that lineup in many games. And Timo Werner doesn't rule out anything in the summer. He said that there is one of the best managers in world football, Jurgen Klopp, and he's also German, and I wouldn't rule out anything. We have the European Championship in the summer. I want to focus on that tournament. About everything else, I will think after the season finishes. But the way Timo Werner has been speaking about Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, I'm sure that in the back of his mind he thinks that he would be perfect for this club, and I think he would be perfect for this club, and it would be much bigger value for money to sign Werner for like £50 million and sign Jadon Sancho for 100 million. I mean, Jadon Sancho, don't get me wrong, he's a world-class player, but he's not worth twice the amount that Timo Werner is worth. And let's not even get started on Kylian Mbappe. What would be Mbappe's transfer fee? 200 million. Would Mbappe really be worth 4 times the amount that Werner is worth? No chance. Mbappe wouldn't score 4 times as many goals as Werner in a Liverpool shirt. I mean, Mbappe is a good player, but he would probably not even score twice the amount of goals that Werner would score if he signed for Liverpool next season and the season beyond those. That's just my opinion. And Dietmar Hamann, the former Liverpool striker, also Liverpool midfielder, Liverpool player, sorry, not a striker, he was a midfielder. He also spoke out about Timo Werner. This is what he said in his column writing for Sky Germany. Timo Werner has continuously improved. He has scored again in the Champions League against Tottenham, the winning goal, and he has already scored more than 20 goals in the Bundesliga this season. I trust him to play in a very big team soon. It is of course an honor for him to be linked with Liverpool. The question is, does he match Liverpool? For me, he is the strongest when he comes through the middle and he can use his greatest weapon, his speed. With Roberto Firmino, Liverpool have a striker who is always playable and connects a lot with his teammates. If Werner went to Liverpool, I would rather see him outside, but there are 2 absolute grenades in that team with Mane and Salah. If none of the 3 strikers get injured or move away from Liverpool, he won't play, and I don't think that's what he wants. Liverpool is the absolute benchmark, but in my view, he would be better suited to Manchester United or Chelsea. Those are the views of Dietmar Hamann, and I don't agree with him. I think that Werner would play easily 30, 35, 40 games for Liverpool if he signed, because we need to rest sometimes Firmino, we need to rest sometimes Mane and Salah, and we could work out a formation where Werner plays with sometimes Mane and Salah, sometimes Mane sits out and Werner plays with Firmino and Salah, and other combinations of various different lineups. But I think that Liverpool need a big attacking signing in the summer, because sooner or later Salah, Mane and Firmino will break down. One of them will get a long-term injury, and then Liverpool will be in massive trouble if we have to rely on Divock Origi, on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, on Harry Wilson if he comes back from his loan spell and stays at Liverpool next season. Hamann also said it will be difficult for Liverpool after the defeat at Atletico, after winning 4-0 in the second leg last season against Barcelona. Everybody thinks they can do it, but they didn't have a single shot on goal in Madrid. It's nothing new, however, that they have their problems away from home. That was already the case last season. Atletico will also tear up in Liverpool. I expect very exciting, very tense and fascinating second leg, and I expect the same as well. And Jurgen Klopp actually talked about the transfer strategy of Liverpool. This is what Jurgen Klopp said, and I quote, "If other players see that you are a successful club, it's easier to get into talks with players. But on the other side, it's more difficult the better your team is, because they always ask questions like, where and when would I play? We need players who want to be a part of this who want to fight for their spot, who want to make the next step together with us, who want to develop and improve. So that's it, we have these players, and whoever wants to join us needs to have exactly this kind of attitude. That CV is not easy to fulfill. The age group of our team is good in the moment. In 2 or 3 years maybe it will be different, but for the moment it's good. It depends on what you want. Is it a good age for selling? Probably not, but is it a good age for performing? Yes. So there's a lot of things we have to think about. It's an interesting period, and I think that Jurgen Klopp loves it at Liverpool, and he loves the group that he has. A Norwegian journalist, Jan Age Fjørtoft, was actually the journalist who Werner interviewed when he started talking about Liverpool, and this is what he said. My view on Werner: he started flirting with Liverpool openly in my interview with him on Wednesday. Today, he continues at Sky Germany. Remember, this is a guy who people thought would not go abroad. His interviews this week are not a coincidence. He wants to send a message to Liverpool. Do I think he wants to go to Liverpool? Yes, I do. Do I think Liverpool right now is negotiating with him? No, I don't. Liverpool got 3 fantastic attackers. They are about to do one of the club's best year, Champions League, World Cup champions, Premier League. Why should Jurgen Klopp and the club make too much noise? Werner knows that Jurgen Klopp rates him. Werner knows that his playing style is perfect for Liverpool. Werner knows that Klopp is a perfect coach for him. I guess Liverpool are thinking about Sancho too. Why wouldn't they? He is world class in English, but also double the price of Werner. Werner's flirt strategy with Liverpool is smart. The fans will love him for it. Timo Werner is a good guy, by the way. I like his way of speaking openly about this. Which more players left their cliches at home? And it will be very interesting what Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool do with Werner in the summer. My guess is that we will move for him. I mean, it's a no-brainer transfer. Werner wants Liverpool. Liverpool, I think, wants Werner. For 55 million pounds, it's a no-brainer transfer, really. And Liverpool gave an interview recently where he described being a Liverpool manager is a massive honor to him. And this is what he said after his Dortmund adventure ended after 7 years. There was a lot of interest after I left Dortmund, but I had to make a holiday first. I heard from my agent that Liverpool is interested, and I felt immediately, oh my god, it's like when I met my wife. I saw her and thought, okay, I will marry her. And it was like that with the club. It felt right from the first moment. I liked England even before I lived here, because when I was 18 years old, I was here for 5 or 6 weeks by train, Interrail. My cousin wanted to come to England. We were just bed and breakfast, had a tent. From time to time we were on a camping ground. The weather was unfortunately really bad, really shit. We didn't use the tents too often because it was that wet. But bed and breakfast I loved. It was such a wonderful thing. So you had contact with people you usually don't have. You travel through a country, you meet all kinds of generations, some elderly people who were really nice. And so that time I thought one day I want to live for a while in England. And of course the rest is history. Jurgen Klopp became Liverpool manager, and he probably is already a Liverpool legend. In my eyes he is, because he won the Champions League, but I think if he wins the Premier League, he will 100% become a Liverpool legend that will be forever remembered in the history of Liverpool Football Club. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.